Good morning, wherever you are. It's time for the Monday Minute with the Poppy of the Paranormal. I'm Christian Paul. I hope everyone is well today. Of course, we have Jan following along with us as always. I hope you had a great weekend. We got some things to talk about today, but before we get into today's Paratalk, I got to show you something that I got very recently from a dear friend and fan of the page here. And I don't know if this is going to really show up on camera well, but I'm going to try it. See if you can see this here. The program really doesn't identify it, but it is a really cool tumbler, and you can't really. Gee, I wish you could see it, but it's got the Crossingaurd Paranormal logo on the tumbler. Very cool. Shout out to Nancy for running that by. I do appreciate it. Let's get into some Paratalk today. What are we going to talk about today? First thing I think we're going to talk about, Dennis and I had a little team meeting over the weekend, trying to figure some stuff out for the summer slam, and we were talking about locations and pricing. And it's a fact. There are some places that are pretty expensive to check out for real. No question about that. But we also know that things cost money. Let's talk about some of the smaller locations first. There has been more than one venue owner that we have talked to over the course of time, and being a person that was in business for over 41 years, you get kind of curious on certain things. And I asked them, I said, do you make any money doing this? And the person that I had talked to at that time, now this was, I'm not going to say this was last week, but within the last year or two, I asked, do you make any money? And I was told by this property owner, yeah, we made money for the first time last year. We made about $20. Yeah, and I believe it. And I know it makes it even harder when you got some dirtbag team in there that steals something from your property. I can name some locations here, but I'm not going to. But if you follow some of these locations, they'll have it right on there. This is missing from this time. The last team in there was Team XYZ, whatever. I mean, seriously? Somebody lets you in to investigate their property and you're going to steal from them. WTF. Well, let's go on to a bigger scale. You get into some of these bigger properties, and we've been to a bunch of them. Sheboygan Asylum, Missouri State Penitentiary, Nevada State Penitentiary, Joliet, Waverly Hills, and you think it's just one big abandoned building, asylum, prison, factory. guess what? There's still taxes on those places. Excuse me. Now, they might not have been when the same when some of these places were in full operation, but county still wants their money. And even though you signed all those liability waivers, there's still an insurance bill. So, keep that into your perspective as you're booking places. And the good places we've been to, I wish you all the success in the world. I really do. But I also know what it costs to maintain commercial property. Cheap date it is not. All right. Let us go on from here this morning. I wanted to talk about Goldfield, Nevada today. Pardon me. Sinuses are just terrible today. What are we going to talk about in Goldfield? I'll tell you. I had files that I have had sitting for so long, and this winter I really started digging back into some of the the archives. When you run as many cameras as we do on something that we're doing for us to keep our skills up, to keep our equipment in top form, and keep our techniques up. Sometimes that stuff doesn't get looked at right away. It's not like the family that has a problem, the people that have got that problem, and we're going out to help them out. That stuff we definitely review right away. So that pushes some of this stuff more to the back burner, and then you do more stuff, and it gets pushed even farther to the back burner. Anyway, I found two clips, one of the Goldfield Hotel and one of the Goldfield Cemetery. I don't know if I should start with the hotel or the cemetery. I guess we're going to start with the hotel. The Goldfield... Pardon me. This is just a bad day for sinuses. The Goldfield Hotel has been around for over 100 years. There is no question about that. And over the course of time, I have seen some changes at the hotel. When Red was still alive, he had made some changes on the building and some updates on the building, some that I felt were positive changes. Others, not so much. But not for my, not my property, so really not for me to say. But anyway, I found a clip, and I'll probably have this up on the page later on today and probably up on the channel later on today. As usual, if you go to the channel, like, subscribe, comment, it helps us out a whole lot. But you already know that. Anyway, the Goldfield Hotel. I am out there late night, sometime after midnight, but before the local watering hole was closed. This footage, I think, was from my my Sony DSC 9, I think. but it shows the outside of the hotel at night, and there were lights left on the first floor in the hotel, so that is basically what you see. There is some noise from the road behind, which is it goes through town. It's Nevada State Highway 95. Go from Vegas all the way up to Reno if you ride it long enough, you know. But as I'm out there and you can hear me, I'm talking about. You can hear the bar in the background. Now the bar was across the street, and I say it in the video, but I had to put a notation in there that the bar is not directly across the street. It's down the next block. And I make a comment on the video about you can hear noises from the bar, and I make a comment about, but I could, I'm paraphrasing here, but I could up there yet later tonight. And if you listen on the video, I get an EVP that says, I love it. So somebody was loving that I made a comment that I was going to go down to the bar. Now I will say, although a very very cool capture, I must say, over the course of years, I have caught several EVPs, both day and night, out in front of the Goldfield Hotel. Yes, I have been inside the hotel, but this was just something I was doing late night outside, just to see this or that. After that, went over to Goldfield Cemetery. Now, this is another thing. I really don't think you're supposed to be there after dark. And I would not suggest really walking around off the main road in the cemetery in the dark. And not because of anything but because there are holes in the ground. I don't know if they're from, snakes or scorpions or squirrels or whatever, but if you're out there walking around in the dark at late night and you trip in one of those holes, you could face plant right into a headstone or something. Would not be good. So if you're going to do it, stay on the main road. But the point of it is, I had been to this cemetery, excuse me, multiple times over the years. Have collected dozens of EVPs from the Goldfield Cemetery. Dozens. But when you're out there in the dark, it takes on a whole different vibe. The creep factor goes from 0 to 10 real quick. And now I was out there on a night where there was no moon. So it was like what we call Nevada dark. What does the term Nevada dark mean? Well, it's a term that I coined years ago when we first started doing the Western Swing. Because when you are out there, way out in the desert, it gives dark a new meaning. Now, I live in the city, and at night here, and it's dark here, but there's still street lights, house lights, light from businesses. But when you're out there in that desert, it is just black. So you really have to be careful and be aware when you're out there. But if you ever get that chance, I would definitely recommend stopping in. You know, if go to Goldfield if you're going to come up from Vegas. About 30 miles up the road is Tonopah, and there's a lot of good places to check out in that area too. Goldfield again, the high school. I've said it before. I'll say it again. In my opinion, the high school is more active than the hotel. Now, maybe I just wasn't in the hotel at the right time. Like I said, I've captured a lot of EVPs at the hotel, out in front of the hotel, on the front stoop of the hotel. But the high school's got a lot going on, even in the daytime. And there was an old video on the channel that I had done. Oh, it's one of the earlier videos, but Goldfield High School, yeah, active in the day, active at night, just active. They're still working on resurrecting it, and I hope they get the funding and the people to actually do the work. If you're a contractor, some of these locations are not what I would call handy. There are no building supply places around any of these kind of places. So anything brick, lumber, mortar, cement, everything got to be trucked in. Everything. But I recommend you get out there and just see these places and experience them for yourself. There's other locations too, but this is today's subject. So get up to Goldfield. Take a ride. Get out of Vegas. Get out of the casino, or you can drive down from Reno too. I mean, that's pretty much your points. I guess. I suppose you could drive east out of Oakland, California, somewhere too. I never did that, but that could be done. Anyway, that's what we got for the Monday Minute for today. Be good to each other. We're all we got. So just be good to each other, okay? That being said, this has been the Monday Minute. Peace out.